All right, all right. Okay, Brother Dailey, God bless you, brother.
Hey, good morning, Dr. Carter. How are you? Well, good afternoon. Sorry,
Blessed,
good
brother,
afternoon.
blessed. Good. That's all right.
It's been a long day, family. So forgive me for that. But Dr. Carter, thank you so much for your leadership. Thank you. I know that
God bless you.
a lot of folks are still, they do have a lot of angst. I've been on calls all day yesterday and all day the day before. And then this morning, I've got meetings that were canceled, rescheduled. Governors realizing that 100 storm that they may say come on your floodplain maps, that 100-year storm may be here today, or tomorrow, or this year, or next year, and while they may come after and respond to Texas, there's a lot of communities that will never get that news coverage. And I was in Southern Virginia this week, and I had my Black Wall Street logo shirt on that I got when I was in Tulsa. And I had a young lady at the gas station ask me, she started just staring at the shirt, reading it. And she was a white girl, and she said, I've never heard of that. Where is that? And I have black folks around me. It's 4th of July weekend, so I said this is Tulsa. This is a black city that was thriving like Atlanta. And she says, I've never heard of that. That seems very horrible. Who would want to do that? I said, it's the same people in power. Anyway, today I wanted to just kind of touch on some things that we need to know. I've talked about this before. We are, in fact, like Dr. Carter said, a year in. And I appreciate everybody who stuck with me from the beginning. And last year around this time, I was leaving the White House, Eisenhower building, and I was discussing the procurement situation where the money was allocated, but the people could not access it because they didn't understand GSA and procurement and SAM.gov, and they were paying, people were charging them left and right. They were charging them way too much money to understand simple things that, we could just really learn just by talking with one another. We were charging each other. Last year around this time, after Juneteenth, if anybody remembers around this time, Joe Biden was in the White House. There was a huge party out there. I think Kirk Franklin was there. And he was saying, tear up the White House lawn. Yeah, I go back and look at it. He sure was. And we were like, but we were there. But the day before that, we were at the Eisenhower building discussing some situations that all the leaders across the nation had came together and said, collectively, this is the issue. The money may be there, but we are not able to access it. It was going to individuals that were at the time, we say the word DEI, but in fact they were some of the, I'm going to be careful when I say this, Dr. Carter, but there were white liberals, radical liberals, that were just using us to do 100% of the work, only take 20% of the money while they took the 80% of the profit. It was a 20/80/100 that you have never, listen, Tyler Perry can't give you this education. You know this if you have a construction company. You know this if you have other services that you provide for the municipal. You know this now if you're in the solar or EV. You may have seen this if you're in the consulting world, even in the real estate world. But the construction world, were those who were doing the work, you experienced it. And we were doing 100% of the work for 20% of the profit. And that's no different than sharecropping in my book. I was outspoken then in that room with Jean, and I'm going to remain outspoken no matter who's in that room, and whether or not it puts me in a position where people ask who I am. And I'm always careful.
That's right.
I always have been very careful about the support I gave to Black Wall Street, because I didn't want it to come out with me having information and creating a conflict, because there were rules. There's a lot of rules. But this is what kind of opens up my conversation with us today, because those who are staying with me, who are still there, I need you to know that that money has not been allocated. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. When you go back to that big, beautiful bill, and I encourage everyone to don't listen to the media in terms of what's in it. I implore you, go to the congress.gov/bill/119, that's Congress House Bill number 1. That's Donald Trump Congress, okay? That's 119th Congress. I encourage you, get it. Get that. I want you to highlight everything in there that you feel is important to you, and I want you to go to your ChatGPT, and I want you to highlight and paste, and then ask it to give you the topics. Don't listen to what the media is saying. I want you to get this information for yourself. The reason I'm sharing this with you is because while ChatGPT can be used for a lot of things, it is for your own intelligence. And, part of the conversation today I'm going to get into, and I won't have a lot of time to get into all of it, but I do want to get into the analysis that I've done over the weekend, because I knew that this conversation was going to come up. And there's a couple areas I'm going to touch on today, and I won't be able to go into a lot of detail, but I am going to give you specific sections of this bill that is eligible, that is important to us as African Americans, to many of those who are providing and supporting communities, and also those who are responsible for children and our elderly. I talked about social workers a while back, and last week, I normally don't get into the ministerial part of my life, because I don't feel like sometimes, there's a lot of people with different backgrounds when it comes to this work, but it's really important that you read your word, because this is nothing new under the sun. And while I can't specifically get into the wording that Dr. Carter used earlier today, I will remind everybody that there was an angel of death that passed over. That's why we have the Passover. That's where it comes. And the scripture we talked about last week was about that diligently passing over an understanding of what to do on that doorpost. It's the smallest thing, and God has been bothering me all week since I gave in, and I taught that a little bit last week. But he kept reminding me that it is the small things that really make the difference and can either protect you from the angel of death, or it very well may be the invitation. And it could be accepting Christ for many people and putting down your pride. But for some other people, it may be making sure that when you put that over your goalpost, that you understand that there is something even greater than what you've seen in a plague coming. I'm not going to speak on doomsday, because I believe in being diligent. So let's be diligent today, and let me make sure that you have what you need to put over your both physical and spiritual post. And so with that said, I want everybody, if the interns are on here, I have something for you guys. I want you to take a look at. I'm going to talk to you guys too, and the parents who have kids in college, because this bill is going to impact their student eligibility. And actually, I'm going to start with that, this conversation. And it's going to be a little tough. It's going to be a little wordy. You're going to have to go back and listen to this if you're listening, because the community won't understand why it's happening. But if they take the right steps, you don't have to charge them for this, but if they take the right steps, they can mitigate, and they can actually benefit from this bill, rather than looking at it from the standpoint of it being one-sided. And it's going to come down to those who are diligent. And I'm going to start there with reminding folks that it was, we talk about how white supremacy and the patriarch society and all these other things sort of maintain its status quo. It does it because they teach their children the same mindset. Okay, it's not like they're not passing the mindset down. And so when we look at the story of how we came to the place of the President of Barack Obama's and President, Vice President Kamala Harris and the John Lewis's and the Elijah Cummings and all of these black leaders you see in your city, in Tulsa and Omaha, Nebraska, and Memphis and New Orleans and Atlanta. And I mean, when we look at the rise of the black leader over the past 50 years, 60 years, and I'm going to even go as far as to say 70 years because we're at that turn, you have to understand that education was one of the major fueling points that changed how we got here. And so that's the reason why, whether you can follow me or have been following me closely, you know that I'm going to give you straight information right from the press, because it's important that you get it. If not for your kids, at least do it for the fact that this is now happening, and some of these dates are happening for yourself, will be happening in July 2025. By the end of this month, it will be happening. You will be looking at your student loan bills, and it will be impacted. And so what I did was I went through and I sort of categorized, what I felt was important for us to overview. So if I'm a little long-winded, it's really important because I'm going to talk about our student loan bills, which is important. I'm going to talk about student eligibility, which is important. And I'm also going to talk about health care, Medicare, and then I'm going to talk about a little bit about energy and power and why that's important for your community in emergency, disaster situations. And I hope and I pray that we're getting somewhere with this conversation, but if not, I know that I did my best. So let me get into it, because that was a lot of time I took. So the first thing on this big, beautiful bill, and it's important that you go to congress.gov, Bill 119th Congress, and this is the first bill that came out. When you go there, you've got to go to subtitle A. This is Section 3001. This is revising, and hear me, it's revising the citizenship categories that qualify for the federal student aid. It's not just citizen, though, okay? This goes into Section 2, 2002, which recalculates the student eligibility for the need-based federal aid, which is calculated on the median cost of attendance. Now, that median cost, I want you to remember that, because I'm going to keep using this word IHE, which is Institution of Higher Education, Institution of Higher Education, IHE, that's going to offer a lot of different conversations regarding the students' attendance for specific programs. And God, I hope you guys remember when we discussed program management and we discussed how those funds kind of get directed in white papers, which is why we're doing executive summaries. But the programming matters. A specific program, when you hear that language in a bill, that's what they're talking about. They're talking about your executive summaries. They're talking about your white papers. They're talking about what it is you're trying to do. If you're using ChatGPT, it's going to say things like the word aim, goal. I don't like to use the word aim because it lets me know you're using ChatGPT, but it does talk about exactly what is the heart of what you're doing, and that's the diligence piece. So we're going to talk about a little bit about just some basics of the changes that are coming for the loan limits, but the qualification that's changing. And then I'm going to go into the repayment. And I'm going to spend more time in the repayment than I am in anything else because there's more of us on this call with student loans than anybody else. So I'm going to spend more time there. But for the parents that have Parent Plus loans, those that are, been taking out these Federal Direct Plus loans or Parent Plus loans, this is important for you to understand because there's a few things that are going to impact you immediately for your child going into the school year in August and in September. And, to my interns that are on the call, when I put this frontward and center today, I thought about you specifically because I know you're getting ready to go into school, and I know you're going to do great things, and you're going to touch the leadership side of the world that we're living in, but it's important that you understand how you're going to get there and what you need to do when you go talk to your financial aid advisor so you can navigate when you're doing your FAFSA properly, okay? So the first thing I'm going to touch on is that the eligibility is on needs-based, is going to be on the cost of the median cost of attendance of that program for that, what they call the IHE. And that program is going to determine how much you're allowed to claim or your family is allowed to claim on their FAFSA, which will be in what they call the certain or what's called the exemptions, okay? And that's for family farms and small businesses that have FAFSA. So why am I mentioning this particular thing? It's because there's a lot of folks who are entrepreneurs on this call. A lot of folks have kids who are graduating on this call. A lot of folks have families that are going to be passing down their businesses. Again, we're being diligent and doing the things on the goalpost that will pass it down. And you need to understand that the FAFSA is not something you need to skate past, okay? The FAFSA will also need to be aligned with your taxes, and you need to know when you're sending your child there, this bill does offer exemptions that will apply to family farms or people with small businesses and not more than 100 full-time or full-time equivalent employees that is owner controlled by, here's the key, the family. I go back to my interns. When I was growing up, my mother was in a ministry. My mother, and I want you guys, the interns, the children, to hear me because when I was growing up, I had to work in the business that my mother gave me. And when I got done with it, of course, we went out. I went to college, and I went further to graduate, and then we got all this. But my mother took out student loans. I took out student loans. The family took out student loans. Our family financed our education and our upbringing on student loans. And so businesses that were passed down, in some cases, in many cases, your parent, your grandparent, your uncle, your auntie, the father figure or mother figure in your life who you're working with, working for, working around, want you to assume that business in their absence, but part of that will require that you have an education. And those who are in the rural areas, who are in the farming areas, and who are in the small business areas, this bill actually can work for you on the capitalist side because it will allow for you to start looking at your children and those who are going in. And I want you to know it does open up opportunities for you, but it's going to come down into your FAFSA. You're going to have to focus on what you're putting in your FAFSA and your taxes that will properly position you on the needs-based assessment for the maximum. And you are the exclusion to what will be eliminated and what will be taken away for these particular student loans. Now, why are they exemptions? Why am I talking about exemptions? Because here's what this bill is going to do. This bill terminates the ability for undergraduate students to receive subsidized and terminates the ability of graduate students or professional students, so that's my graduate students, to receive Direct Plus loans beginning July 1, 2026. I just said a mouthful right there. I just said a whole lot, and I'm going to say it again because there's a lot of us who are going to take some time to digest this. Section 3011 goes into the section that terminates the ability of the undergraduate students to receive subsidized loans and terminates the ability of graduate or professional students to receive direct plus loans beginning July 2026. And it provides only an exception of up to 3 academic years for students who are already enrolled in a program of study and receive a loan for that program. So if you're already there, it's not going to apply to you. But this section also places restrictions on the Parent Plus loan. This is further that basically will tell you that the parent can only borrow on a Parent Plus loan if the dependent student has already taken out their maximum annual unsubsidized loan amount. So I'm going to say this again because this is a lot. They're terminating the undergraduate and subsidized loan, graduate and professional or graduate subsidized loan programs, and also the direct plus loan programs by July 21, 26. So that gives us 1 year. Everybody understand this? Last year, we were in a very different place. This year, I'm trying to get you ready for 2026, okay? But it provides exceptions. The exceptions are for those who are already enrolled in the program now. But there is an exemption, and those are those with small business of 100 full-time employees or less, as well as those who are on farms. So I just want everyone to wrap their minds around the new qualifications of student loans. Now, if you don't understand what I'm saying, if you want to listen to this or that, please, I encourage you, go to congress.gov, look up the section I'm talking about, the subsection A on the education front, student eligibility, and loan limits. You have to read them both, okay? And then there's subsection A, B. Now, I'm going to talk about C, and I'm going to spend more time here today because it's really important I spend a little bit more time on those who need to understand that this section terminates all current student loan repayment plans. They terminate them, all current student loan payment plans for loans dispersed on or after July 1st, 2026, okay? So there won't be a repayment plan for after the next year. What's important about this is that the Department of Education may only offer borrowers 2 options for repayment, okay? One is a standard repayment plan with the length payment that is term that is discussed by the total amount borrowed, and an income-based payment plan. That's also going to be known as the repayment assistance plan, so that's RAP, okay? So this is important. Most of us are going to do the income-based repayment plan, okay? Most are not going to try to go off the standard repayment plan, which is based on the amount that you took. Most people are going to go on the income-based repayment plan. Remember, I'm saying that because the next section eliminates hardship and unemployment deferments beginning, everyone please listen to me, July 1, 2025. That means it's already eliminated. It also reduces the total period a borrower or a student or a person who owes it may be in forbearance, okay? So the borrower who is serving a medical or dental hardship, something else, if it's may be eligible for forbearance with no interest for the first 4 12-month intervals, okay? So that means for the first quarter, okay? But the interest won't start until after that 12 months. Now, we're not going to get into that because I don't want to go there. But what I do want to touch on is that the borrower, this section, allows for borrowers to be rehabilitated only by a defaulted loan twice. Hear me. You can only default on your loan twice. I got to slow down, but this is what we're not discussing. So real estate agents, loan officers, folks who work in the finance industry, this is going to reshape your industry. This is going to reshape the household. It's going to reshape what you do. Now, the borrower must pay a minimum of $10. Now, this is the part where I believe education preparation is really important, and this is why I'm taking the time to go through this section, because it's important that no one ignore their student loan payments. okay? Because the next section I'm going to be talking about will go into some of the enforcement practices that are already ingrained into this document. Now, I'm going to pause here because I know that a lot of folks still need me to repeat what it was in the beginning. And so I'm going to go back just to repeat it one more time before I go forward, because I'm not going to get into the Pell Grants, but I do think it's important that everyone understand that what their regulatory relief is going to be, if any. And it's going to start with them not understanding that the responsibility they have right now under this loan repayment plan started July 1, 2025. By July 1st, 2026, you won't even have the qualifications that you have now. So if you're going to go to school, hear me, if you're going to go get education, I would start now. I would get myself enrolled now, at least for the next 3 years, 4 years, because it's critical. It's critical that you do it now. Even if, you know, you got that knucklehead kid of yours who doesn't understand and don't want to join it, they won't be impacted by the terminations of the subsidized until 2026. And we've got 3 years with this guy, so it's not like this legislation is getting ready to change drastically unless we take full control of both the House and the Senate and then impeach the guy. But even then, we still got 3 years until we elect another president to move things. The reality is that we are about to be impacted as black folks on the student loan front because their enforcement practices have also been garnered and given full measure by the Senate and the House. So that means Trump won't be doing this only on executive order. You won't be able to get injunctions. This will happen. They will start garnishing your accounts. That is not a joke. It is not for fake. That is going to start happening. The saying is, and I'm going to read this section, section 3023, there's 30023, and it says, this section allows borrowers to rehabilitate a defaulted loan twice, currently only once. So you can only rehabilitate it now, but you got to start paying a minimum of $10, okay? And then they will work out that repayment plan that we discussed. That is either a standard or it will be an income-based repayment plan. Now, I wanted to make sure we started with that conversation today because I know that there's a lot of issues that are going to be put into place for a lot of us that are receiving that type of support. Part of the conversation that I've been having with some of my folks on the Hill and some of my folks at other offices was, how do we deal with the regulatory enforcement, et cetera, et cetera? Well, there was a point where we, the IHEs or the programs were able to derive at least 10% of their tuition and their revenue. It came out of one of the Higher Education Acts of 1965. Right now, these references, they are now removed, those references for gainful employment under this act. So removing that means that any regulations pertaining to any closed school that discharges or that decides to sell their loans, qualifying loans in the federal student loan and borrower defense to repayment, these regulations are going to be repealed now, and they're repealing all of them that were put in place for July 1, 2020, okay? And it prohibits, here's the thing, it also prohibits implementing any new rule, regulation, or policy or executive action regarding these unless it's expressly written by Congress. So it means that you can't just put another president in there and all of a sudden we go back to this 90-10 rule for IETs, okay? So this is what gives the next level of what I'm about to say, which is the subtitle G, which allows for the limitation and authority, right? Because now you're talking about who has the right to take from me, who has the right to garnish my wages, who has this right, and this subtitle basically it limits the ED or the education department from issuing new regulations or executive actions, but it also proposes a final regulation that will allow and determine how we will go after and increase any subsidy cost, or it allows us to take a look at which areas that person is working in that will receive any additional benefit. What am I saying? And I'm trying my best not to go too technical, but the technical language is they will have to have an annual effect on the economy of $100 million or more, or two, adversely affect in a material way the economy, a sector or productivity, competition, job, public health or safety, state, local, tribal government, communities. What it's saying is they're not going to enforce, or the Department of Education will have discretion at how they enforce the repayment and the loan qualification rules. This is the ultimate measure of, in my opinion, is redlining in the education and loan department. And I don't know how else to say that, but to say that that's essentially what they're saying. They're going to go after enforcement, and then they're going to redline our student loans. And I'm spending a lot of time on this because some of the caveats to this conversation in education and is understanding which industries will not just be exempt, which industries will have an exception, which is more exceptions to the rule, not being exempt from the rule, but have an exception, and that's typically for a period of time, but also what those limitations of the authority is, and it's based on the industries that you enter in, which gives me to the next part I wanted to talk about today, and I know this is a lot, so you guys are going to forgive me, but it's energy and commerce, okay? Energy and commerce is going to be one of those areas that give us another level of the exemption, exception, or specific industry that will allow you to say, okay, well, this is a safe place for me to take out a subsidized, unsubsidized loan, or maybe this is what I should be studying right now. Whatever it is, this is going to give you that next level of conversation. And while we're going into this, and I say, again, it's really important you use your ChatGPT to talk about it. I went through this, not with ChatGPT, but I've actually had to deal with some of these conversations, so we understood what they meant from a higher level all the way to a state and local level. But what this essentially means is that we're going to start having to get ourselves into the projects that deal with things like, they want to know, are you going to do natural gas? Are you going to do things in that nature? Or are you going to do things with that deals with immigration? Or you're going to work on, and I'll say this, the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. And there are so many different areas that they have listed as projects that are important. What they have decided to repeal, and this is important because I've been talking to us about solar, and I've been talking to us about EV, and I've been talking to us about all these things. This was a year ago, so now we're doing a 180, okay? And if you're upset with me, I really wish that I didn't have to have this conversation, but it's important that we have it. But the things that they're reversing are some of the things, and I just wanted to list them here for you. Those things that deploy, integrate, support, maintain stations or technology for air to monitor air toxins. They're going to expand the network of new multi-pollutant monitoring stations, but they're going to repeal all of these things. So basically the funding that was there, they're about to remove it. And here's what's important, and I'm going to touch on it and I'm going to move on. It is that anything that was there that we were sending out to your communities that was going to help to integrate, that was going to educate, workforce, or operate air quality systems in low-income and disadvantaged communities, they're pulling those back. Anything that was there for wood heaters, anything for methane, anything that was greenhouse or zero emissions for mobile sources, they're also pulling back. The word they're using is rescind, repeal, but there are other grants from greenhouse and gas emissions. And the reason I'm bringing all this stuff up to us is because while they're repealing all of the funding, and it's beneficial, what they're repealing, one of the things that is going to impact us is all of the effort and energy we put into creating our smart city infrastructure that was already financed and guaranteed by the federal government. The law that is written now is repealing all of those things, and that time frame, some of that is happening now, but others of that is happening come July 1st, 2026. And it's going to be under the FY26 and 27 platform, so that means that you've got to get your stuff in. Now, I got to touch on one last thing because I know that it's tough, and I'm going to continue touching on a few of these. I may end up having to do another session this week because I want to make sure this information is all prepared and that we understand what world we're getting ready to walk into and why they are moving at such. It would be different if it was going to be a year, but they're trying to do this within the next 30 days, the next 60 days, 90 days. They're trying to have this done by October 1, 2025. So that gives us less than 2 to 3 months to really to share that information for those in our business who are maybe buying homes or looking to move, or those who are in business and you're looking to prepare yourself for your taxes after you extended them to the October 1st, October 16th deadline. And I know I did. I always extend my taxes to the end of the year because I need to make sure I have all the things taken care of. And there's many folks on this line who do that. And so the last thing I want to touch on is the Medicaid health. It's subtitle D on the health department. And if you haven't looked at it, again, that's the 119th Congress, House Bill number 1. You have to go in and you have to look at this. This one is Section 441.03, and this goes directly into Medicaid and Medicare services. And also it goes into the Children's Health Insurance Program as well. Now, I'm not going to go into a whole lot of this because it did take up the rest of our time, and I really didn't want to create already confusion. But it is a lot, and clarity is important. What I want to share that I think will be really important for all of us to know is that there's a subpart C that goes into this conversation of, and these financing practices come from Medicaid, that comes from what we call the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act that was from March 11, 2021. And it requires that it's done and it's over by January 1 so that it can match what's called the federal matching rate. Now here's reason I'm pointing this out, and you don't have to go into this too deeply, but it is important that you know why I'm bringing this to this. It's because this section requires individuals on a monthly basis to work at least 80 hours. Listen to me, 80 hours, or complete at least 80 hours of community service, or participate in a work program for at least 80 hours, watch this, or be enrolled at least half time in the educational program, or, this is the fifth one, engage in a combination thereof for a total of at least 80 hours. Individuals may also qualify if they have a monthly income that is at least as much as the equivalent of the minimum wage multiplied by 80 hours. I just wanted to point this section out. There's a lot that you're going to read in there, but I want to point that out because it was the difference maker monthly in terms of what is going to be the major change. I'm going to read it again because there's 5 parts to this that is going to impact on the Medicaid and the Medicaid expansion population section. And this is in that section 44141. It says that it will apply to those who work at least 80 hours, complete 80 hours of community service, participate in work programs for at least 80 hours, enrolled in school, or engaged in a combination of those three, which is working, community service, or work program for 80 hours, or individuals with a monthly income that is equivalent to the minimum wage of 80 hours. If not, they are going to kick you off Medicaid. I'm going to stop there because I know I have talked a lot, and God knows I didn't want to have to get into the nitty-gritty of this, but guys, this is what is happening now. I wanted to point those three areas out specifically because I felt that those were important areas. I do want to continue going. I will consult with Dr. Carter to see if we should go any further, because there are some other things that need to be kind of addressed in terms of how to navigate it using an health savings account or other instruments. That's how they are expecting, and I'll say this, the Caucasian folks, that's why they're going to go to Edward Jones or their estate planning or the financial advisor. But the loan officers and real estate agents, these are the things you got to know, because it's going to impact overall eligibility, not just for housing, but for health and for our education. And that's the work, live, learn conversation that I'm having. And I pray that what I've said here, I know it was a lot, but it's necessary that we become diligent, because this is a whole 180 from what we were looking at last year around this time. And I'm going to leave it here, Dr. Carter. You can have it from here, because if any questions are there, I want to make sure I at least get one or two good questions in case anybody has them.
Okay, well, brother, thank you. And I would that everyone would govern yourselves to the information. Brother Dailey just said something that I hope you caught. This is swift action. But what we have going as believers is that no one is as swift as God. And what's happening now is no coincidence. His response to creating all of these hoops that you have to jump through. And, they have a term saying moving the goalpost, but they done destroyed the goalpost. And so as God leads you, Brother Dailey, you let us know as he leads you based on the information that we need to know, the way forward in terms of any extra sessions or Zoom calls, anything you want to do, you have full gratis.
Dr. Carter,
leaders,
I appreciate that.
Yes.
I want to just jump in. Just one thing you said there about doing this extra section, and it's really on the student loan section that I'm really concerned that we don't understand. Everyone's talking about Medicaid and Medicare, and that's important. But the student qualifications for our kids and our student loan repayment and the regulatory section behind them, that is what we need to be aware of. And all of us have to be aware of this. All of us. That is what is going to change our lives drastically. That's what's going to hit your bank account. Not the Medicare, Medicaid. It's going to take time to see. But it's the student loan that you're going to lose $600, $800 a month. And I'm hoping everyone understands the difference between the standard repayment plan and the income-based repayment plan. And I know I went through it really fast, but I had to get it out for those who are listening. They need to understand that is going to be it right there. That's the Achilles heel for us. So I just had to go ahead, Dr. Carter. But I just need to make sure I stress that a little bit.
No, that's good. And so here's what I would recommend, Brother David, before I open the lines. Put together a brief primer, bullet point that we can post as you continue to illuminate this part of it. And in that light, I would that everybody, if you have not, because this is really right along with Brother Carter G. Woodson, even though that was almost 100 years ago, that he wrote The Miseducation of the Negro. This is nothing new. And the first thing you attack is the resources for education and academics. They had no answer for our ancestors because it was just truly spiritual in terms of our liberation and freedom. So we didn't have access to education. And many of the universities, there are 9,000 some odd universities and colleges in America, many of which got their roots because of slavery. But if you, Brother Dailey, could put together just something brief, send it in to Ursula, and then that's what we will follow going forward. Because to attack a people, you go straight for the jugular, and that's education. So leaders, govern yourselves. I hope the leaders that are on, state directors, regional directors, that you're hearing this. And so you just again, you let us know how you want to move forward, Brother Dailey, and we will follow that advisement. Now listen, everybody, you're welcome. I want you guys to go to blackwallstreet.org. Do you see God? Now I don't know if everybody heard it, but go to that blackwallstreet.org. Do you see God? And now, yes, the G in God is capitalized. So you type it out. If you put a lowercase g, then you in error. But you need to hear that word from God. And you heard my voice, but that was God talking. I want you to listen closely to that. What happened in Texas, and it's, God is not about race. The word says, when it comes to Christ, there's neither Jew nor Greek, bond or free, or male or female in the body of Christ. But there is judgment. And everybody on this call has been to court. You didn't sit before the judge. You sat before a judge. And there is a vast, immeasurable distance between what is a judge and the judge. And so there's not just judgment, but there's judgment for the disobedient, irrespective of your race. And what happened last week in Washington has everything to do with disobedience and an evil and an inhumane heart. So go there, blackwallstreet.org. Do you see God? And I want you to listen to that, meditate on it, study it. Well, meditate more than you study, because studying gets you in trouble. All right. So if you would, if you have noise in the background, please mute your phone. Be respectful. I'm going to take everybody off of mute so that if you have a question to Brother Dailey, you may ask that question at this time. All right. Are there any questions for Brother Dailey today?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes. Please identify yourself.
Mary Griffin, Pennsylvania.
All right.
There are other people that I know that needs to hear this, but do you have anything that I could pass out and disseminate this information? Very good information, by the way. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
I did put together. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I did put together these notes. I did it over the weekend. This is a 1,000-page document, guys, and I'm going through it by myself. And I do want everyone to go there and look over this, because I may miss something, I may not, but we can't rely on attorneys, politicians, preachers, pundits, anybody else to tell us what's in this bill. Okay, we got to know it for ourselves. But yes, ma'am, I do have notes that I wrote out that I felt were the most important. I mean, and I prayed about these things. So I do have them, and I will share them with, as Dr. Carter asked me to, that deal with the exact issues that we're addressing. So I'm going to make sure I put it in a nice format, and then I'll get it over to Dr. Carter, and then hopefully we can get that out to everyone as well. But I know that, Dr. Carter, we did record our session today, right? Because I know that was a very hard draft. And I know I had to drink I had to have my water bottle with me. It was a lot.
That's all right,
I did, but I pray that you guys heard me. It's the education, it's our health that they're hitting, and it's going to be, the only thing that's going to save us right now is our small businesses. I mean, our small businesses are going to save us. And I hope and I pray everybody heard that as well. So, yes, ma'am, I will put that out there.
And speaking of, just a moment, speaking of, and you're welcome. Speaking of small businesses, let us remember the rich history of Tulsa. Those were small business owners, and that is the spirit that we need to be in, an entrepreneurial spirit. We need to start teaching our 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds. They can learn how to say the songs, to rap songs, and do all this. I was on the Facebook, and this little girl, this guy started dancing, and he just tapped her on the shoulder. He was Chinese, and she was black, and then they started doing the same dance. I'm like, if we could do that with our kids when it comes to entrepreneurship and creating small businesses, it really warms my heart to see people in Black Wall Street who not only have one business, but they have multiple businesses. And they if you watch the Texas Weekend Zoom, a lot of those people have more than one business. I mean, I think Sister Little and Sister Reese got 50 businesses between them. So listen, people, we're going to make it, but, we have to use wisdom. That's what Dr. Carter's teaching you, the sevenfold ministry, the 7 spirits of God. You're not going to navigate this well without those 7-fold spirits resting on you. You don't have to look anywhere else. But anyway, all right. So are there any other questions? And that was Mary Ellen Griffin, by the way, family, who the voice you heard. And I'm going to have her talk a little bit more later on. So stay on, Mary. Any other questions for Brother Dailey?
Yes, I have a question. This is Karen. I had to laugh at you talking about me and Sister Little got 50 businesses. We got 55 businesses. That's right. So, Nathan, I want to personally invite you on my Sports Mom Talk Show. This is information that every parent needs to understand, because sometimes our kids get these scholarships and then our parents will go and get a little loan to help pay for something. We really need to understand, is that loan really important? And so by understanding what it's getting us into, that'll help us make decisions where we go borrow the money from our family in order to get the education paid, whatever we have to do. But I want to personally invite you on my Sports Mom Talk Show for Season 4 coming up, and we can get this recorded. We can get this information out there.
I'm in. I got you. Just let me know. I would, because this is really serious. And I'm more concerned these days that we're not realizing that now they have control over this, and they've gutted out any civil rights. So the act that they repealed was from 1965. And this is so important, everyone. This is so critical, what just happened in this bill. But if you don't understand what happened in 1965 in our education, you need to go back and look at it. You need to go back and take another look at it, because it's real, and it just happened. It's done. And it happened, and the enforcement started July 1. We are at July 7th. And they're saying you need to pay $10, and you're only going to get one chance. Hear this. You're only going to get one chance to default. Two chances to default. Hear that. Because a lot of us, I know, have gotten forbearances and deferments on our student loans. And whether it's we'll be thinking about trying to help our kids, and our own stuff is going to come up, and it'll be problematic. But that's our ICE, okay? That's our ICE. That's our debtor's prison. That's what they're coming at against us. So just I pray that this message is very clear and that you go to this bill and just look up what they're saying. Just zero in on this conversation I'm having. I've always been okay with being fact-checked. And this bill came out on Friday. So that means that the changes that were made from the Senate that went back to the House and then got passed, a lot of folks only had less than a week to review this. So we're still discovering what's really in it. So if it's not completely, just understand, I'm still studying it to this day. I've postponed meetings with governors, associations, updates, because I don't have the ones that pertain to them. But I do know what pertains to us as black people. And they're coming after our education, our health, and they're moving the money for those who are in entrepreneurship and in the farming agriculture industry. And we need to be aware of where the opportunity is, where the pitfalls are, and we need to situate ourselves accordingly. This isn't last year when we had $100.1.3 trillion. This is not last year anymore. As a matter of fact, I may have to change it from controlled regeneration to protecting the core, 2025, 2026, because that's where we are. And this bill is now law. It's law. This is not an executive order. It's law. It's different. So, thank you, Dr. Reese. You got me.
Awesome. Any other questions?
I don't have no interns with questions because I thought they'd have some questions. They haven't learned about FAFSA yet. And now is a good time to go ahead and do that while you are having, if my interns are listening, do that now. Do that now. Even if you're a junior, just do that now so that you know what you're walking in 2026, because it's going to impact you. It's going to impact you. And you need to know how much money you're going to be able, because it may determine where you decide to go to school at. It could very well determine where you decide to go to school at. And so it's important that you learn this right now.
Well, what I was thinking is that we could get that to Sister Phillips. Now, Sister Vivian Phillips has been on our intern program since 2008. She took over for Jeff Ross. So when you put together your advisement, it will be an official advisement from your company and from your position as Deputy Chief of Staff. And we will see to it that the parents have it in hand. Because we don't talk to them unless, their parents is right there. So, and also, all of the initiatives that we have in Black Wall Street USA that deal with youth, from Louisiana to Maryland to Florida. And so when you put that together, that will be deployed to them readily. Now, also I want to address, if there are people in your community, bring them to Black Wall Street USA. Have them join and become members, and they can sit here every Monday and go back in the archives that these kids have put together, but especially now. Because as Brother Dailey just said, this is a complete 180. But it needed to have happened. See, if this didn't happen, you won't know what's in you. You won't know truly what God has put in you. And we only have so much time to operate in our anointing and in our gifts. We don't live forever. But so this had to happen. I know you may not like hearing it, okay, but this is nowhere near what our ancestors endured. So we might as well go and grow up, get this information, and help Brother Dailey get it out there. That's what we're here for, Black Wall Street family. So encourage people to show up here on Mondays. Become a part of the family, the Black Wall Street family, because I talk to all of my black leadership counterparts out there. you know, the ones that want to talk to me, not trying to take over Black Wall Street, but, you know, they're in the same boat trying to explain this bill, trying to explain a major portion of this bill that affects the black community. See, the world would really just come after America if that one in the White House had his way with black folks. So they had to get us some kind of way. They got something for the Native Americans, for the Asians, for the brown brothers and sisters, and for the black folks. The poor white folks, they in their minds, in that mindset, in their own racial family, they see certain segments as disposable, dispensable. Get rid of them, replace them. They're dragging on our budget, our money. We don't want to pay for that no more. So they don't mind seeing their own die. So stay tuned, everybody. This today was an eye-opening, I must say, Brother Dailey. Eye-opening. And all right, let's see here. I thought I saw my brother on. Is there any other questions for Brother Dailey? I do see the other Deputy Chief of Staff, Brother Reese, on. Are there any other questions for Brother Dailey? And if you want to hear more of this next week, if Brother Dailey's available, please be on. Or if he tells us hey, we need to have a special whatever, we'll do that as well. Maybe you guys can get with him and coordinate something that the web team can get out there to invite more of our members. You know, a lot of people are shell-shocked. They really are, because just to be honest with you, let's see, last Monday, I was getting calls, you know, Dr. Carter, do you really know what's in this bill? Do you really know what they're doing? I said, yeah. But ain't nobody talking about it. Big-time entertainers and nobody's talking about it. You know why? Because that's how Satan operates. He waits deliberately till you turn the lights off in your house to get busy. So it is our responsibility to make sure that it is fully exposed. And aren't we blessed, Black Wall Street family, to have a young brother who was in the White House at one time break all this down to us? Every organization don't have this. And if they do, they got to pay for it, and a lot of them are, you know, handicapped because they're not as in tune. Brother Reese?
Brother Dailey, excellent information. Excellent information. Is there any immediate steps that anybody can take based on the information? Any action besides education?
That's a good question, and there's a quick answer and a short answer to that. The quick answer is yes. If you're in the student loan section and you're saying, oh my God, what I need to, I would be immediately creating a business. I mean, even if it's an LLC for your personal name and you're working to, that company is designed to really deal with your personal finances, I would definitely be looking at that. The second thing I would be doing is literally talking to a financial advisor, because the Medicaid and Medicare programs that are out are going to have tax implications that you can either write off or at least you can take advantage of, which is going to offset some of the promise to pay and repayment regulatory policies that are being put in place. But if, you know, just to my Black Wall Street family, you know, I'm going to continue, as I said before, I'm going to continue giving you guys this, like, just the raw information. I'm not going to change it. We're not going to try to go viral. We're going to keep it between this, you know, as God will lead us to help and support. But I will be asking that you all really do work to support the interns, because this information, and I'm not trying to ask you for money. I'm telling you, I need the help so that it can be organized. So this information, when you click on it, we can click on it and it can really lead you down the right rabbit hole, not the one that's going to put you on Fox, MSNBC, or some weird stuff, but I'm talking about they really did a great job of organizing information, and if you continue to help them, even if you're going to go out and have dinner with your family, you probably go on golfing trips, you might even have an anniversary you got to raise for the church. I don't know what you're doing. But if you could help the interns, and that help, that money, it doesn't go to Nathan, it goes to them. It's important because it helps to organize it so that when you're ready for it, it's going to be there. That's the key. You want it to be there next year. You want it to be there, and you want it to be easily digestible. This is a lot of information, and it's not done. So the way you can help now, I just showed you how to help yourself. I showed you how to really kind of hopefully work for your family. But the real truth is, this isn't PETA, I see commercials all the time with animals that need to be saved. Well, we're not animals, but we need to make sure that we're also funding ourselves. I'm not the pastor. I'm not any of that stuff. But I do know that what's going to hit is going to affect your business as well if your customers if you're depending on a commission from customers in the low to moderate income housing and education and healthcare fields, even legal. So the interns are helping me and helping Dr. Carter to put it in order. And if we don't have our own personal place to get authentic intelligence, we're going to be we're gonna be in trouble. But they are helping, and I would just ask that if you don't understand everything I said, just really listen to the impact it's getting ready to make in your life. And the best investment you can really make is keeping that information organized so that you can access it when you need it. Because I am going to get into housing. We're talking about 80 hours. 80 hours, just people on Medicaid. We're talking about 80 hours. That's a full-time job. Understand, it doesn't matter if it's you or
Daily, is that 80 hours a week or a month?
That's 80 hours a month. So we're talking about, well, it doesn't matter because you have to remember if you're on Medicaid and it's for even children, you're talking about not being able to provide for 2 weeks out of the month. You have to have 80 hours accounted for. And that's just Medicaid. That's not including what you're about to hit for student loans. So what is the move? Maybe now is the time to find an industry to get into. That's why I talked about energy and commerce earlier, because maybe it's time to go ahead and, for the next 2 to 3 years, get another master's degree. Get another degree if you have not maxed out certain things. But maybe it would be time if you know that you need to this could impact you. So, but we won't know that, but the information has to be organized. And we're talking 80 hours a month. And I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but it does when you have 4 kids and 5 kids. 80 hours is a lot. Or if you retired, 80 hours is a lot. It's not a little.
And yes, sir, I concur. Yes, sir, I totally agree. These kids work more than that a month. And
I just want people to understand.
It is true.
It's hard to get this information in one place. Dr. Carter's not lying. I had to spend all weekend just getting those 3 points. Just what I discussed there for 45 minutes. I took all weekend getting it together. That's how much. It's 1,000 pages. So I'm not asking you to pay me. I'm asking you to make sure that I can get some interns to organize it for me and for you and for us. So that's all I got. I hope that answers your question.
No. But God is holding me responsible for making sure our people, because all of our people are not going to take it to heart, but for those who do, and those who need to know. He holds me responsible. Not the intern, not Dailey, not any of you on this call, not one board member of Black Wall Street USA. Because he gave me the assignment. And I dare not, unlike many of my, God bless them, other leaders, pastors, and all the rest of them, they're not touching it at all. They're too busy pushing their own agenda. But this is the type of information, as Brother Dailey said, does need to be organized. And so, if your membership has expired, renew or donate to the intern program. But we're going to be, the intern program is going to be all right, but I refuse to have them babies work. And when I say babies, anything that's younger than can't take care of themselves, they still at home or in college, you're a baby to me. And work for free. I'm not going to put that on. They're not going to be prostituted or pimped. But this is information, as Brother Dailey just said, you can go to anytime you need it and want it. Be right there. And I won't put this burden on our web team. So, with all of that in mind, people, please go look at the bill. Please read it thoroughly. Get familiar with it. And especially as he has laid out today, the education piece, because they move swiftly on this. Under the cover of darkness, under the cover of night. That's how they operate. 1965. I wasn't even born then. But that too much. Well, you know that I was born, but it wasn't until 1965. And so we owe this. We owe this to future generations. We can't leave them with this. It's all planned out. They got a little plan, but it won't meet the master planner. Sister Mother Rahima Rahim, State Director for Black Wall Street, Oklahoma. We're going to let you have the last word, and we're going to close out in prayer. Are you still on with us? Sister Rahima? Okay, I guess she got another call. But okay. We love you all, and thank you for attending today. This will be up on the YouTube channel. Everything being transferred over there, they say it's a lot easier for them, so we're going to make sure. We just heard from Sister Camila Shabazz, our African counselor. She's the general counsel for the African Council. Has several countries under her leadership. Doing a marvelous job, her and her husband, Brother Cooper. I would that you guys would reach out to her for those of you who maintain import-export business. There was Sister Kane, my deputy for U.S. States, had a business called Lifeline, and one of the components was the home-based business and how you can claim and write off things if you have a business at home. You go right along with the system that they created for themselves, home-based businesses. In fact, if you were an inmate, you had a release date, you could actually start your business inside the prison walls, and by the time you're released, your business is up and running, home-based businesses, and you can write off everything. If an ant crawl across your floor, you can write that ant off. You buy a bottle of what they call it, Raid or whatever. So home-based businesses, you can write off a lot. So start a business. A lot of people talk about, I don't know what I would start. Feel a need. Feel a need. It's the best way to begin this entrepreneurship. That's how that's how Greenwood grew. They just filled various needs for the people. And this really requires us to come about of our selfish nature. We got to work together now. we must work together. So, again, I would encourage you to go to our YouTube channel and listen to past lectures by Brother Dailey. Encourage others in the first year anniversary of this program to become on board. Last year, a lot of people thought they was going to get money right away if they turned it, and none of them people part of this anymore. They came and went. Paid their little $65, they get no grant, they gone. Okay, so some of you guys are the mainstay, and I'm proud of it. But there are others who need this information, and we just encourage you to bring them on board. Before we go, I just real briefly, Mary Ellen Griffin really touched my heart. First time we spoke, we received an invitation to the Black Wall Street Conference scheduled for October of this year. And she introduced me to another young lady, Sister Melanie Sally DeSomasu. And both of them are, just powerful Black queens. That's all I can say. Sister Mary, could you just briefly share with us a little bit about Black Wall Street Lehigh Valley, you being the new state director and her team coming together? Sister Mary?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. The Black Wall Street Lehigh Valley was developed because they had did a urban renewal, so to speak. We, in the Black community, we do not have a area that you can call home, so to speak. Allentown, Easton, and Bethlehem. Allentown's the third largest in Pennsylvania, city in Pennsylvania, and they have broken us up by design. And so what we decided to do was to create Black Wall Street, and we're in the heart of downtown Allentown, and they are doing a lot of redevelopment right around us, and they would like for us not to be here. So we're standing tall and proud, and we help businesses out. We have meetings every third Wednesday of the month. We have speakers coming in. We provide, of course, we do dinner for all the businesses, and we try to get them to become sustainable, meaning that we have accountants and we have people that will help them with AI now, and we're bringing in investment people because we have in our area, we have a lot of businesses. They do not have storefronts, but more importantly, they don't stay. And only because they took their last dollar to create this business. So we're looking to strengthen and to circulate our Black dollar in this area as much as possible, and to let each other know who we are, because we are so fragmented here in the valley, as they call Lehigh Valley. And so Black Wall Street was created for those reasons.
Talk a little bit about what you have endured with the Caring Place, if you don't mind. The family needs to know.
We have been here for 29 years. I have a nonprofit called the Caring Place, Inc. It's in the Caring Place Youth Development Center, and Taste of Soul, Anna's Kitchen. And then underneath that umbrella is also the Black Wall Street. So we are in a building, 36,000 square feet. Within those 29 years, faithfully every year since we purchased the building, they come and they try to destroy. And we have endured so much damage, we have a 4-story building, and so they cut all the air conditioning and damaged them that they could not be repaired on our roof. And then we had to have all that, and every floor has 3 air conditioning handlers, as well as we had a fire. We've had our gas lines cut. As of this year, 2 occasions we had to evacuate because now they are coming stronger because we have not moved. We've had, as I said, we've had a fire. We've had numerous sabotages. They pay people to come into the building and destroy things that we have. All that's costing money to a nonprofit organization. So we are standing here, and God has been doing great things for us. We're still here, 29 years later. So these are just some of the things that we had, as well as threatening to arrest me. They have had pulled guns. They had a SWAT team to come and arrest me. And it's been ongoing like this. And it's as of a week ago, our gas again. So they've done everything humanly possible to get us out of here. And it's taking a lot of dollars to this point where repairing things has really done damage to us financially. But we're dependent upon God. We've always had, and we're still here. 29 years.
Now, Black Wall Street family, you hear similarities in what she just described. Here we are 195 years later after the beginning of the Trail of Tears, the Indian Removal Act. We are 104 years after the massacre. And here's a black woman, black family in Allentown. Now, if you go on Google Earth like I did, they're going to show a picture, and it's so telling. The picture that they show, when you zoom in, you see the building, but guess what they got in front of it? They have a container, shipping container, and a chain link fence blocking the building. That speaks volumes to me. I don't know how it hits your spirit, but the lengths that they've gone to try to break Sister Griffin and her family's spirit, but yet she remains planted like a tree by the rivers of water. That's what this movement is about. We call it Black Wall Street, but this is about spiritual steadfastness. And so go 931 Hamilton Street, and if you ever in Pennsylvania, pay her a visit, but pay them all a visit. Beautiful building. Beautiful. And because she does not bend, God did not give us the spirit of fear, because she will not acquiesce to their demand. They paying drug heads to go in and cut things and destroy things. Right? This is going to bring the best out of you. So get ready. Put on your seatbelt, Black Wall Street family. You cannot follow God and me and be timid. It ain't going to happen. All right? You got to be tough. I'm going to give you some encouragement here at blackwallstreet.org. Enabling armor. All lowercase. Enabling armor. The New English spelling of the word armor. Listen to it. Because I received maybe 2-3 calls like this, or emails or something along the line. God just sent me pictures of what they're trying to do to him down in Mobile, Alabama. Same kind of spirit. And I mean, they burnt his stuff. They burnt half his property, trying to get him out of there. All right. And so, I mean, I talk about it all the time, but it's what's happening. They won't win. And so we encourage you, Sister Griffin, stand tall. We are proud of you. Do you know, you guys, she got Sister Melanie, and then now she has, I believe I saw Sister Tia and Sister, the new administrator for the state of Pennsylvania.
Heather.
And so Pennsylvania, Sister Heather, yes, Millhouse. And so Pennsylvania Black Wall Street family is in good hands. These are strong women. And she got some other sisters that have been nominated. And so that's the other announcement to all state directors regional. I am putting a moratorium on the 10-day activation and accepting nominations in light of what happened with the Tangerine Demon there on 1600 Pennsylvania. Did you see that? He had to have a B-2 bomber fly over. Boy, they really, look, know what you see, everybody, in the spirit. This is their last shot. This is it. This is not, we won't be dealing with this in 100 years because they'd be well outnumbered by that time. See? And so this is their last shot. And I'm talking about not necessarily white folk, but people who subscribe to Satan's agenda, which just so happen those who are the elite are the ones that do. And they just so happen to be the ones that got all the gold bricks. So, but this is it. So they going after whatever they can, right? And every step of the way, as you can clearly see. That's a 500-year flood rain. That's what the man said on the meter. I tuned in to Houston News. A 500-year rain. Well, that much rain comes down at one time. You do not want to play with God, family. All right, I won't start preaching, okay. But anyway, thank you, Sister Griffin, for sharing your story. And we'll be talking. Oh, yeah, by the way, Thursdays, tell them when your Zoom is. I want y'all to tune into their Zoom. Tell them when your Zoom is.
Every Thursday at 6:30.
All right, so go to blackwallstreet.org/Zoom, everything lowercase. Scroll down to Thursdays. You'll see Pennsylvania. Join their Zoom call. This is an awesome story. And we have awesome stories. Just take a little trip with Dr. Carter around the Black Wall Street space. I want you to go to Chicago, East 75th Street. I've been there, Chatham District, between the Dan Ryan Freeway and the lake. Black community. Bridgeport, Connecticut. If you haven't been to New Black Wall Street in Stonecrest, Georgia, you need to go. Take that trip. 25th Street in Baltimore. Go. Go to Lehigh Valley. Go to Allentown. Go to Sacramento. See it for your own eyes. Go to Hattiesburg, Mississippi, the Greenwood Village. This is why we do what we do. I know this call is about money and getting grants and all of that, but it turned, you see, God using Nathan Dailey for something he didn't anticipate. And we're grateful to have a brother. So again, let me reiterate what he said. If you want this information where it's readily available, our own knowledge bank, go to, you can do it one or two ways. You can you can renew your membership one, or you could go to the Cash App, which is the Cash App /Greenwood Tulsa, or blackwallstreet.org give, or support the interns. Either way. And make sure that these kids feel secure about the work because they put time in. This is not stuff that just pops up there. They put time in on what they do. And when I asked them to put the caring place up there on the website, tell them, Sister Griffin, it was up there immediately. They went to AI, they wrote stories, pulled articles. I mean, they did. And I was like, wow. So supporting what they're doing. And so the education piece today, let that resonate with you. Let it resonate because Brother Dailey is going to give us some details on that. And that's the sort of thing we're going to put up and have the kids keep track. And every time there's an update, we want that information up there. Okay, any other questions before we sign off? Wow, you guys are still on. God bless you. Any other questions? Sister Rahima, did you get back on? Trail of Tears?
Yes, sir. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Peace and blessings to you all.
Peace and blessings. I didn't see your Zoom for yesterday, so I wasn't able to watch. But so can you update us on the Trail of Tears, your agenda, and we're going to close.
Yes, sir. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Basically, we concentrate on the Trail of Tears. We have outlined 5 divisions that need to be handled because it looks like this is going to be a monumental event. So we're really excited about it, God willing. And we plan to ask people to join committees, everybody join and help, in some kind of a way, because it's really going to be major. And for those of you who don't know what it is, basically we plan to revisit the Trail of Tears starting in Georgia. In Florida, and at the town where it started, and bring it on through to Oklahoma, to Tulsa. It's just like the Trail of Tears people had the Buffalo Soldiers. The government engaged the Buffalo Soldiers because they were like real soldiers after World War I. That's about all they knew, other than picking cotton. So they engaged them to move the people out, which I think it took them a couple of years, and they touched 9 to walk it, and they touched 9 states. Of course, we're not going to be walking, but we will. It looks like our saving grace is going to be probably the bikers, because they're more they're more astute in moving from town to town. So, but we do have these committees, which I do hope you'll be able to make it on the call. Dr. Little's call will be Saturday at 10 in the morning. So if you're available, you'll get a lot of information from that. Dr. Little is in Texas, and I think the Dallas area. And we'll be I will be discussing a little bit of that on that, because Texas is very engaged with this. Florida is very excited about this, and there were 9 states that were touched, and it looks like we have a halfway point, which will be hovering somewhere around Tennessee, the northern part of Tennessee or Illinois. I didn't know they went that far north, but they did. I guess that's why some people died on the trail. We're planning to engage buses. Anybody who is planning on getting on a bus, we want to have a transportation committee where we can connect with black bus companies. There's one in Texas that will probably pick the people up when they're ready to go back and take them back to the halfway point. Wherever the halfway point is, we will be seeking a bus to carry the people from there. We know of a couple of black bus companies. I just found out from a former supervisor of mine, that her friend has a Mercedes bus that he uses to transport people. One of his hobbies, really. And so we plan to have a black bus company starting from Florida, and people probably the Maryland area. There's a black bus company, and we plan to move across the country from through those 9 states. Now, states like Maryland and farther north, Virginia farther north, you'll just have to, if you want to jump on the trail, you just, some kind of a way, just jump on the trail from wherever. But the dates will start like May the 21st up until June 1st. Dr. Carter has deemed May Black Wall Street History Month, Global History Month. Dr. Carter, what's this? Because I think I heard two.
That's correct.
Yeah, this is Black Wall Street, Global Black History Month, and the new mayor of Tulsa, who just started in November in January, has deemed June the 1st as Tulsa Massacre Observance Day. And so that will be our last day, which will be a Monday. So from the 21st, we will be expecting, people to start coming in, depending on whether you're going to drive, whether you're driving, or whether you're going to be on a bus, or, it might take 2 days or an overnight stay. The midpoint, we're looking at the midpoint, which the committee has to investigate, is going to be Trail of Tears Park, which is located in southern Illinois, which is also a place where they stop. And I think that would be an excellent place for us to camp. This trip, we plan to do what Dr. Carter gave us the motto, oh my goodness, 3 steps: elevate, acknowledge, and no, that's not bad. I'm not looking at any notes. Trying to do all this off the back of my head.
That's okay. I'll help you. Advance
to North Tulsa, acknowledge, acknowledge, and elevate.
Enhance.
Elevate. Mm-hmm. Advance to North Tulsa. I'm adding the other part. These things: advance, enhance your knowledge of yourself and your people and your history, and then elevate. Go back and elevate the information that you get in Tulsa to another town, like where you live, or whatever town you want to work for with that information. So we know that a lot of things are changing, and a lot of we have no idea what's going to happen between now and 2026. But we are trusting in the One Most High that He will help us, because one of the things we will be, it's basically an educational trip, and we want to make it child friendly. So we want to have a package that will include a treasure hunt and all kinds of information, a campsite for in Tulsa where you might want to just camp out. The weather should be it's pretty much settled, relatively comfortable by May in Tulsa, God willing. So we just pray that the Most High will bless us with favorable weather and a successful, because what's happening is this will be our children's history book. They will learn more history during this move, as well as us, than they will ever learn in school, even whether they take Black history out the schools or not. They can learn a lot on this trail, because we plan to visit some of those sites, and some of the, in each town, at least if we don't see the sites. For example, we'll go through Tennessee, but we probably won't make it to Lookout Mountain, because Chattanooga is a little further south. But at least as you're passing through Tennessee, you'll know about Lookout Mountain. You'll learn about Lookout Mountain and some of the sites, depending on the committee. So that's why we're asking anybody who's interested in this, please get on the call. The call for us for Tulsa, Oklahoma, for the Oklahoma chapter is Sunday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8:30 Central Standard Time. Dr. Little, is that right? Yeah. So anyway, you can just go to blackwallstreet.org and you will see every one of those sites. Now, the one thing I'd just like to ask all the directors from each site, if you would just please call me, because last week I planned to get on every one I could and wound up getting on just of this one and Dr. Little's. But if you would just call me, if you can just text me in. Sometimes there's something happening at the last minute, and then I get confused at my age. And so if you would just call me and say, would you please get on my, on my call? And if, like it's only 2 or 3 people there. Well, the Bible said where 2 or 3 are gathered, I am in the midst. So just give me a call, please, and let and so we can share. So I'm looking forward to getting all of you engaged. And whether you come or not, you just maybe want to want to sponsor a child, or sponsor a bus, or sponsor a site as it comes through your state. And we want people lined up on the street. If we have to pass through cities, they'll know when we're coming, because Sister Karen Reese is going to work in the media department, and she wants to make sure that every state knows when we're passing through, and it'll be broadcast and all that good stuff. So we have a lot of wonderful, exciting plans, and we pray that God will bless us to let it come through. Thanks for letting me share, Dr.
Amen.
Carter.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Govern yourselves accordingly. Everyone. I deem Sister Rahima the matriarch of the movement, and so we ask that you reach out to her. Go to blackwallstreet.org/Oklahoma, and you can get her number there. And I encourage you to go to blackwallstreet.org/Trail of Tears and read up on it. That page will be updated going forward, so always return. Okay. Brother Dailey, you have any closing remarks? I'm going to close us in prayer. Boy, we almost 2 hours. Wow. Okay. Brother Dailey?
Yes, sir. No, I'm okay. I'm okay.
Okay.
I'll just say that I look forward to seeing everybody next week, and hopefully we can talk about it some more.
Awesome. Okay. This entire recording will be on our YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com/the Black Wall Street USA. They'll get it up there so that you can review. Eternal God, our Father, we bless your name. We glorify you. We magnify you, Lord. We thank you for sending all of these gifted and talented souls to the movement. And we thank you, Father, and keep us close to your bosom in this day. We thank you for the whole armor that you provided, that we may be to withstand the fiery darts of Satan. We thank you, Father, for sufficient grace, for favor, giving us victory over temptation, victory over death. We thank you for everything you've provided for us, Father. Promise of eternal life with you. Touch the entire Black Wall Street USA family on every continent. Touch them all, God. Touch those babies, God, in Africa that are dying due to famine. Touch those families. Take those souls within your bosom, within your hopes right now, Father. We ask a special blessing over this nation, that we'll walk upright to do your will. We thank you, Father, for letting the Spirit of the Lord, the Adonai, the Spirit of wisdom, the Spirit of understanding, the Spirit of counsel, power, knowledge, and the Spirit of the reverent fear of you rest on all of us. We have a special blessing on our lecturer, God. Refill him, restore him, all that he's poured into us today. These things we ask. Amen, amen, amen. Thank you so much, Black Wall Street family. We'll see you next week.